Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And the madness gripping the NHS in Scotland continues unabated. This time there is outrage, and it is fever pitch, because one regional health board has said that if a woman complains about a man in a female-only ward, that is akin to racism, and that the woman complaining should be removed from the ward. What the hell is going on? And why is this going to be a bigger problem than anyone can ever think? Well, the answer's obvious. The Gender Recognition Act that's pushed through Parliament at the moment will give men the right to access women-only spaces whenever they want. And we know what happens. We've seen it several times. Women will get R'd, and then the NHS will cover it up, like they have done, when they say, oh, that R couldn't possibly have happened because there's no men in that ward. That's bullshit. We know what happens. We've seen what happens. What happens is that women are R'd, and the NHS are guilty of covering it up and helping men to R women. Let's look at this article. And it isn't pretty. And if you're a woman in Scotland, God help you if you have to go into hospital. Fury as Scots Health Board says objecting to trans women, men, in female-only wards is the same as racism. No, it's not. Because people of different colours are fine together, especially if they're all women. The problem with having a room full of women is, if one of those women has a penis, they ain't a woman. The controversial guidance is claimed to fail to understand the law, as it gives examples of staff being expected to act immediately if a white woman complained about sharing a ward with a black patient. Now, why are they saying white woman but black patient? Do they mean with a black woman? Let's get the language here, because this is important. They're saying, oh, if a white woman complains about a black patient, they mean a black man. And they're saying then that that's racist. No, she's complaining about the fact that the black man is a man, not that he is black. A controversial NHS policy has been branded offensive, and it is, for comparing patients with concerns about trans women being placed in female-only hospital wards to racists. The NHS Ayrshire and Arran policy, titled Supporting Trans Service Users, states how female patients who complain about male-bodied people, men, being placed in a female-only ward may have to be removed. So you're going to take a woman out of the care she needs because she's scared in case she is attacked by a man. She could be in danger of being R'd, and she complains about that, and she's the one in the wrong. This is madness. The Health Board has now said it is reviewing the guidance, which states if a white woman complained to a nurse about sharing a ward with a black patient, not a black woman again, not a black woman, or a heterosexual male complained about being in a ward with a gay man, we would expect our staff to act immediately. They are totally different things. A heterosexual male in a ward with a gay male is still two men. A woman in a ward with a man is not the same thing. These things are not the same. And why are they using the word black patient? This is important. The guidance outlines possible real-life scenarios, setting out a situation where a patient explains she didn't expect to be sharing the ward with a man and points to the bed opposite. The document states that nurses are told to reiterate to any female patient who raises such concerns that the ward is indeed female only and there are no men present. That's a fucking lie. Because the patient lying in that bed has got a penis and two balls. He is a man, and it doesn't matter what he calls himself. He represents a clear and present threat to the women in that ward. So they're lying. The NHS is now lying to patients. If any nurse or doctor does that, that is lying to a patient. At that point, that's breaking the Hippocratic Oath, and they should be disbarred and thrown out of the profession and never, ever be allowed to work in hospitals again, because you do not lie to patients. And there has been examples of the NHS managers and ward sisters ward sisters now, telling police that an R could not have happened because there was no men in that ward, when in fact there was a man in that ward and his penis penetrated a woman. But it's a lady penis, and therefore, in the eyes of the NHS, it wasn't R. Tell that to the woman who was impregnated. The guidance adds, ultimately, it may be the complainant who is required to be removed. The Daily Mail reports it then goes on to compare the scenario to racism, stating general appreciation of trans issues is low within our communities, and often this is used as a rationale for behaviour that is essentially transphobic. There is no such thing as transphobia. What there is a fear of being r'd by a man. That's the fear, and that fear is real. There should be a fear of being odd, a real fear of being attacked in a woman-only area. And you put a man in there, you are guilty if he does it. A manager or a ward sister or anyone who's in authority who puts a man in a woman-only space and that man then attacks a woman, that person is guilty and should be standing trial next to them for the same offence and should immediately be debarred from office. The document states patients with the protected characteristic of gender reassignment are protected by law in terms of their rights to receive care that meets their current gender identity. That's fine. You put them in their own ward alone, or you put them in a trans ward. You don't put them in a woman-only ward. Scottish Conservative equality spokesman Rachel Hamilton told the paper this policy is deeply concerning to patients who have legitimate concerns about women's privacy and safety. Imagine you've got a woman in a hospital who'd previously been attacked, who'd previously been the victim. And then a man turns up pretending to be a woman, sits in the bed opposite with his penis hanging out, and then she says, I can't have this because of what's happened to me. And then the ward sister says, well, you're a problem, aren't you? And throws her out of the hospital. That ward sister, at that point, needs to be disbarred, lose her job, and never work in medicine again. To continue, to equate them to racists is offensive and plain wrong. Hamza Yousaf, the useless bastard, must ensure that this and any similar guidance is withdrawn immediately by health boards. It's bad enough women's groups are having their legitimate concerns ignored, as Nicola Sturgeon seeks to railroad her gender recognition reforms through Parliament. But for them to be dismissed on a par with racists and homophobes is unacceptable. The feminist think tank MBM said, in the context of hospital accommodation, sex is relevant to patient privacy, dignity, modesty and safety. Yeah, you can take your gender and you can shove it, and wards should be based on actual physical sex. The sex determined by chromosomal sex. That's it. No other excuse. And any medical personnel who lie to a patient should be fired and disbarred immediately. The equivalence between female patient expressing unease at the presence of another male patient on a nominally single-sex ward and racism is not only offensive, but fails to understand the law. And the NHS Ayrshire and Arran spokesman said, our current policy was developed in 2018 and is currently under review. They're saying it's under review because they know it's wrong. The review will ensure the policy is non-discriminatory for all groups. It's simple, it's easy. Open up a ward and put all the mentally ill in that ward. All those men who are desperate to pretend to be women can go in their own little ward. Because it doesn't matter how much you want something. Just wanting it or desiring it or pretending doesn't make it so. You're a man, you have all the male equipment, you go in a male ward, and that is the end of it. You do not put women's safety at risk for the sake of political expediency. And that is really fucking dangerous. These bastards need to lose their job. Anyway, I'm going to stop now and come up because it's going to get me angry. It seems in Scotland that being a woman is of no consequence whatsoever. There is no protection in law. Nicola Sturgeon and her cronies seem determined that women shall be threatened and endangered at every opportunity. You cannot now, as a woman, even go to hospital, because if you object to a man being in a female-only ward because of legitimate concerns, you will have that care denied. You could be thrown out of the hospital because you object to being ARD. This is the state of affairs in Scottish hospitals. This is wrong and it needs to stop. The people of Scotland, and particularly the ladies of Scotland, the women of Scotland, you need to look to the next time there's a vote, and you need to send a very clear message. You need to send the message that women matter, that the safety of women is important, and that women are not there to be used as pawns, if you will, in a political game of virtue signalling and the destruction of what it means to be a woman. I'm going to stop now, so thank you very much for listening this far. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, ring the bell for notification of future outputs. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, do not go into hospital if you can avoid it, and goodbye.